a very much anticipated horror movie, but it is going straight to VOD instead of theaters. And it's been pretty mixed. Where do I stand on this? Hey guys, this is Joshua, aka Future Filmmaker, doing our first reviews while I talk movies, TV, and music. And if you like talking those things, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to get notified when live streams, videos, or community posts on my channel are live. Otherwise, if you don't hit that notification bell, you're not going to get every single notification. And also, be sure to like on this video, comment down below what you think of Antebellum or any of my other videos, and be sure to share this video or many of my other videos. With that being said, we're going to talk about Antebellum, which is the directorial debut by Gerard Bush and Christopher Renz, and stars Janelle Monáe, Jena Malone, Gabourey Sidibe. And in this movie, we fought, without giving this much away, I will say this. A successful author finds herself in a horrifying reality and must figure out the mystery behind it before it is too late. When it comes to Antebellum, I will say that this movie, the idea of this movie is pretty interesting. A successful lady finds herself stuck in a reality, and she is playing with time travel, but also with horror aspects. And the trailers, I saw only 2 trailers. I didn't see the last trailer because it did spoil the whole thing of the movie, even though I was pretty sure what this twist was going to be. But then I was actually kind of interested in it because you have a good cast like Janelle Monáe and Gabourey Sidibe and Jena Malone and Eric Lange from Victorious in this movie. And then pandemic happened, and then this movie got pushed back, and then they decided to just go, Lionsgate decided to just go ahead and put it on VOD. And I did watch this on the 18th. I stayed up pretty late to watch this movie, and here's what I'm gonna say nice about Antebellum, because this had an interesting concept on paper. It sounds very interesting. It sounds like you could play around with this, with this idea of this whole Antebellum situation scenario. I do like the premise on paper. It sounds really interesting. This is a very creative premise that I think could have worked if it was done better. Also, I will say from direction standpoint, these are 2 music video directors, Gerard Bush and Christopher Renz. Yeah, I do want to see what they do next with this movie. And I will have to say that from a visual standpoint, the visuals in this movie are very well done. I will say, especially the one shot take at the beginning of the movie, and from the opening scenes and through the scenes of slavery, the horrors of slavery, you do get that. I do get what this message is trying to do. And I will say the cinematography, there is some great, beautiful cinematography here. I do love the cinematography by Pedro Luque. It's well shot, well framed, well lit in a lot of areas, especially in the slavery moments that are basically the first 45 minutes. And I will say that the musical score is very creepy by Nate Wander and Roman Gianarthur. I do love the creepy factor of it. And I will say, for the small $14 million budget, the money is on the screen. I will say that. The money and technical aspects is on screen. And I will have to say the performances are very nice. I love Janelle Monáe as a musician. I think she's great as an actress, from Hidden Figures and Moonlight, and especially in this movie. She is great in this movie. I think she's the best character in this entire movie, as Veronica Henley, and the dual persona Eden. But you get both sides of her. You see her being horrifying. You see her in the non-slavery alternate timeline where she has a successful life. She's an author, she has a loving husband, a loving daughter. And I will say the rest of the cast too is great. Eric Lange is great, Jena Malone, who I love as an actress, Gabourey Sidibe, and Kiersey Clemons, who I've seen before, and I can't wait to see her as Iris West in the Flash movie and in the Snyder Cut of Justice League. I will say that she does a really great job. Beyond that, everything else in this movie is just 100% negatives. And like I said, this is a premise that could have, on paper, it should have been amazing. This should have been one of the best horror movies of 2020. But the problems are the execution, writing, editing, and mismarketing. And I will say that this was marketed as a horror thriller film, but this is more of a psychological thriller than a horror film, because the movie is not really that scary. The horrors of slavery, I do get it, but they're just there in this movie for the sake of shock value. There's no substance to the whole slavery stuff, which I will have to point out. This is not a political video. Look, I get that slavery, it was hard, and slavery was rough, but the way this movie chooses to go about the whole slavery thing in Antebellum, the way they chose to go along with it, I see the message that they're trying to go there, where we shouldn't be repeating the past, and especially this is kind of relevant to what is going on right now with Black Lives Matter and everything that's going there. But the way that they choose to go at it, as far as execution, it's just beating you over the head with the slavery. That slavery is bad. Discrimination against black people of color is bad. And I am a person of color. I am 22, a 22-year-old African American. But the way that they choose to go at this, I don't think it was the best well handled, and I don't think it just beats you over the head. It's not even 100% effective. It's just slavery moments. It's just, and I found myself pretty offended. And this is where I think some people might like it, but I also feel like there are some people who will hate this movie because of the slavery aspects. And just the mismarketing here is all wrong, because when you watch the actual movie, the first 45 minutes is in this underground railroad-like period. Then after that, it just goes into the actual story. And I feel like if they would have done it the opposite way and just flesh it out a lot more, how this works or what's going on here, I feel like this could have really been something more. But the worst thing in this movie, as far as writing goes, are the characters. Besides Veronica Henley and somewhat Kiersey Clemons, you don't really care much about anything else. You have Eric Lange, Jena Malone, and Jack Huston. They're all giving a great job. They're all doing good performances. It's just, this is kind of like a movie to kind of promote white supremacy. The same way that people felt about last year's Joker, which that movie was not white supremacist. It felt that way as I was watching this movie. And also, the direction here visually is good, but I feel like as well as handling the story in a competent way, wasn't very well handled, and it wasn't very well structured. And like I said, I do see the potential of these two directors, but the way it chooses to tackle slavery and it chooses to tackle its themes, and the way that it chooses to tackle its message about we shouldn't be reliving the past, it's just not effective. and it's not even scary. I wish they would have done if this was more scary. I wish it was more different. But for me personally, I get the message, but it's just this is very cluttered, very clunky, very convoluted. And also, this leads me into the part where I do have to say, for the hour and 46 minutes, this movie was quite dull, and it was pretty predictable, because I'm not going to spoil the twist, but when the twist happens in an hour and a half, I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Like I said, I'm not gonna sit here and rant and rave. I don't want. And also, look, we get it. Slavery was bad, but it's 2020, and considering the whole discrimination and the whole thing with police killing innocent black people and this whole Black Lives Matter movement being more effective as it is right now, we don't need a movie about slavery in this new decade. We really don't. There are better movies out there that has done the slavery subject very well. Like a great example of this is 12 Years a Slave. And that movie I reviewed earlier this year. We'll have a review of that in the card section down below, but that movie did the whole slavery aspect very well, because you get to care about Solomon Northup and in this 12 years of his situation and him trying to prove that he was a free man. Also, not to mention, before I even give my grade, Gabourey Sidibe, great actress from Precious, Tower Heist. You've seen her in some stuff, but she tries to be the comic relief of this movie, and well, I do give credit to her for trying. It's just the script does not do her any favors whatsoever. And the biggest thing that I hold against this movie is the fact that this movie tries so hard to be Get Out and Us in terms of what those movies have something to say. But those movies have something good to say for a reason, because it was well handled, it was well directed by Jordan Peele. And this movie wishes it was Get Out, but it's not Get Out. Because you do have the producer from Get Out, not Blumhouse or Jordan Peele. It's another producer, but it's just Get Out got its message across in a great way. That what about interracial couples and then black people, and whereas this movie I just don't really see. I don't really understood what they were trying to do. This movie, it wasn't confusing, it was a straightforward plot, but it just wasn't executed very well. Now, if you guys are new to the channel, if you want to send fan mail, you can send fan mail to me by DMing me or emailing me privately. And if you want to send money to my channel, you can DM me or email me privately, and I'll get back to you. And also, all my social media links are in the description box down below, so you can click there. So, with that being said, let's get into my final thoughts. In the end, guys, Antebellum, this is a movie that has an interesting concept, it has good performances, and I think if edited better and done better, this could have been something really interesting, and it could have been really great. But because of all the problems this movie had, this is just a disappointing horror movie for 2020. And in the horror movies this year, we have gotten a few good ones this year, like The Invisible Man and The Lodge, and some of the horror movies on Netflix like The Lodge. And I'm looking forward to the Haunting of Bly Manor miniseries. But Antebellum, this should have been a lot better, especially with the intriguing premise with the cast here. In Antebellum, I'm not mad at the movie, I'm not going to scream at the movie, I'm just disappointed. That is the best way to put it, it's disappointing. So, and honestly, I still don't understand what we're wrong. You have an interesting concept, and I get you're trying to get a message across, but this was not the way to go about it. Having slavery violence for the sake of having it, and it felt gratuitous at times too. So, with that being said, I don't recommend you watching this. If you want to watch it, that's fine. I'm not going to tell you how to spend your money through VOD, but on the scale of, despite some good elements here, overall, I'm just going to have to give this movie a skip it. Again, it's not going to be the worst movie of it's not my worst movie of 2020 category. It's just in disappointing of category. Anyways, guys, let me know in the comment section down below what did you guys think of Antebellum. I'll see you guys in the next one, and you guys keep it cool and join the Epictasticness.